Hello, my name is Katie, and I'm one of the education specialists at the Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County. Each day, we're bringing you live programs focusing on some aspect of what we do. The SWA began operations in 1975, and we are the local government agency responsible for managing Palm Beach County's solid waste. Palm Beach County has a population of about 1.4 million people, making us the third largest county in the state of Florida. Each day, our residents produce about 12 pounds of solid waste on average, meaning that we manage almost 17 million pounds of solid waste each and every day. Imagine a football field piled high with garbage 27 feet tall. That's almost as high as the top of the goalposts. Today's video is going to take you behind the scenes of our renewable energy facility 2. The operations manager, Kyle, will be showing us the giant pit of garbage, as well as the cranes and grapples that are used to process it. If you have any questions, be sure to type those in the comments, or you can email us at education@swa.org. Now here's Kyle.
Hey guys, Kyle here again. Right now I'm going to make some videos for us to look at our tipping floor, our pit, and our hoppers, and basically the starting point to our whole process. So, the trucks will come in onto our tipping floor, they'll dump their fuel on the floor. We'll then do a quick screening of that to make sure it doesn't have any materials that we can't accept, like medical waste, or anything that's too big that would mess up our system. We have some size requirements there. Other than that, everything else will get pushed into the pit, and then eventually picked up by one of our overhead cranes, fed into our hopper where it goes and starts the combustion process. So right now we're on the charging deck, which is a good place for us to get an overhead view of our pit, see some of the cranes in action, and talk about our building a little bit here. All right, so here is a view of our pit. Our pit has a capacity of about 40,000 tons. Overhead, you can see we have a series of cranes that utilize grapples. You can see there a grapple being picked up, which will be eventually fed into one of our hoppers and start the whole process. Out here, you can see the tipping floor. These are where the trucks come in, dump their waste, and eventually gets pushed into our pit. As you can see, they're utilizing those cranes. Not only do they pick up the fuel to feed into the hopper, but they use it to organize and stack the pit, and also mix that to try to make the most homogeneous mix that they can. So we'll watch this grapple go ahead and open up and feed into one of our hoppers here. You can watch this one as they spread that fuel around to try to mix it as best they can. And you'll see they'll slowly open and close that grapple in an effort to feather that in instead of just dropping all of it in one shot. Yeah, so for some reference here, that grapple can pick up a family of 4 household waste for 2 full years. So every time it grabs a chunk of fuel and picks it up and moves it into our hopper, we're burning what a house of 4 will throw away for 2 full years. All right. So while we're here, we can get a good view, underside view of one of our cranes. As you can see here, we have a bridge crane, so it's supported on both sides. It can go the full length of the pit, back and forth, and we utilize 3 of them, and we do that for redundancy purpose. So if one of these is out of service, needs maintenance, or is just broken, we can utilize the other 2 to keep the facility running. And this grapple here is considered an orange peel style grapple, so that would open up nice and wide, and as it clamps down, it will clamp and pull up that fuel. All right, so we're up on the top elevation of the facility now. We can get a good overhead view. So we're above the cranes, and you can see right now a crane is passing underneath us. And here's a view of its grapple as they go to pick up some fuel from our trench. So here's an overhead view of the whole pit and tipping floor. You can see him go ahead and start spread that material out throughout the whole facility's pit. So as trash comes in, we could have loads of paper, we could have vegetative waste like yard debris, we could have unrecyclable plastics, or we could even have food scraps. The trash is so different, and each one of them burns at a completely different rate. So what we try to do is make the best mix we can to try to make the most consistent fuel source possible. And that's why you'll see them pick up grapples and slowly, featherly spread that around the whole pit in an effort to try to mix the waste as best we can. So, a couple things to note here. If we look down on our tipping floor where the trucks would come in, this building is fully enclosed except for an entrance door for the trucks to come in on that far side of the tipping floor, and an exit door on this far side. So they come in the entrance, they drop their waste on the floor, and then they leave through the exit. Those are the only two openings of this building. Behind me, we have a giant intake screen. Each boiler has one of these, so 3 of them. And they pull all of the air that we need for combustion inside of the furnace from this building. By doing that, we create a negative draft inside this building, which helps maintain the odors or any dust that's generated from this waste inside. So it helps us be a good neighbor so that we're not creating lots of odors or any nuisance for anybody in the nearby area. We can also take a look here. If we take a peek down here, this is one of our hoppers. Overhead view. So like I said before, it's basically a giant funnel. They will pick trash up, drop it inside this hopper, and if we were to sit here long enough, we would watch that waste slowly go down as it's pushed inside the boiler for combustion. Again, each boiler has one of these, so we have 3 hoppers, and they constantly need to be fed. All right, guys, here's a video from the tipping floor looking up, and we can see this is our pit at ground level, and we can watch some of the cranes operate here. As you can see them picking up some fuel and feeding it into the hoppers. So down here is where all of the fuel will get dropped on the floor. As we can see the trucks backing up, they'll drop that on the floor. We'll do a pretty quick screening just to make sure there's nothing we can't accept, and then we'll push it inside the pit and eventually pick it up with the cranes and put it inside our hopper. So as we talked about before, this is the entrance door, and on the far side over there you can see the exit door. And those are the only 2 openings in this whole building. And remember, all of the air gets pulled up through those fans to create a negative draft. And here's just a little bit more footage showing that this pit, which actually is about 40 feet deep, is full, almost floor level right now. So we're looking at probably in the range of about 15,000 tons, and we have a capacity of 40,000.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have additional questions, be sure to type those in the comments, or email us at education@swa.org. Be sure to tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. for a discussion of the SWA trails, some of our native birds, and their adaptations.